We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I think the network was very bad. How you doing?
Pretty good. Where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria.
Okay. You a Muslim?
All right. Yeah, I'm Muslim.
Tell us why you believe Islam.
All right. Okay. So the reason why I believe Islam is true, and of course, I also want you guys to, especially your audience, right? Because I've listened to some of our scholars speak with you, and there are several times or many times they have raised some pretty good points that you didn't respond to, which I do. It makes me feel like I don't know if you are actually willing to accept the truth when you hear it, or you are just kind of decide, okay,
What
this
was
is
the
what I want
top
to
point that
believe.
you heard that
It
GodLogic
doesn't
didn't
matter.
respond to?
So, sorry, come again.
What was the top point that you heard, like the strongest evidence that you heard that GodLogic didn't respond to?
Okay. There are a lot of them, right? But the most fundamental teaching of Islam is the unity of God, which is Tawheed. And when you're talking about Trinity, I believe that's the most important thing in Christianity as well. So there have been topics about the Trinity. There have been some strong arguments about the Trinity, which I eventually see God's logic answer to them is more like, I accept them because they are in the Bible, which I feel if a Muslim does that for the Quran, I mean, nobody would have to convert to any other religion or any other faith or accept any other thing outside their religion of
So what
birth.
was the argument
So
though?
if I say, for example,
You said that you said that you heard lots
okay,
of
so
points
the
that
arguments,
scholars have made that GodLogic hasn't
yeah,
responded to, and you felt
yeah,
like if he was really sincere, really honest, that he would respond to these points or something to that effect. So what was the argument that you
okay, very
heard?
good. Okay, so the argument is that there are actually three gods in Trinity and not one God. So, because if you say you believe in one God, then you cannot have the Trinity, because the Trinity, no matter how much you try to explain it, will always logically mean three God and not one God.
Okay, how
And
so?
that
How so?
is, in fact, how so? Yeah, okay. So if you say, for example, there are two ways to actually talk about the Trinity. You can talk about it from a logical point of view, and you can talk about it from a scriptural point of view, right? You can use the Bible as evidence, and you can use logic, and you can use both, right? So if you want to use logic, there is no way you can say that the Father is 100% God,
Uh,
the Son is 100% God, the Holy Spirit is 100% God. The Father is not the Son is not the Holy Spirit is not the Son, and like that. None of them is the other person. And then you still say they're actually one God. That doesn't logically, uh, that is illogical. That's
okay,
plainly
before
illogical.
we get to that
Because you
argument,
cannot have,
before we get to that,
right?
before we get to that argument, do you agree that the Bible teaches the Trinity? Because you said that there's two different areas you can go into. You can go into the Bible or you can go into logic. As if there's, we don't believe, by the way, we don't believe there's a contradiction between the Bible and logic, but just going with what you said. So do you think that the Bible teaches the
Okay,
Trinity?
so I would say that the Bible teaches, I would say Paul precisely teaches somewhat of a duality and not Trinity. And even in his duality, even in his concept of duality, there is a kind of hierarchy between the Father and the Son. So, for example, in Hebrews chapter 1, I was listening
I thought you
to
said
Avery.
Paul. I thought you said Paul.
Yeah, yeah, of course, Paul.
So you went to Hebrews. Okay, so you think that Paul wrote Hebrews? Okay.
Yeah, who wrote Hebrews?
Okay, no, we can go with Paul. I thought that you said Paul. Usually people go to other epistles that are specifically attributed to Paul. But go ahead, make your point.
No, 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 please. Who wrote Hebrews? I want to know, because I know, to the best of my knowledge, the letter to Hebrews was one of the epistles of Paul. So he wrote Corinthians, Thessalonians, and the other epistles. But Hebrews, I
You have
believe, is one of
a lot of church fathers.
the
A lot of
epistles
church
he
fathers
wrote.
believe that. A lot of church fathers believe that Luke wrote Paul. Luke wrote Hebrews. So Luke was a companion of Paul, so they speak very similarly. But if you compare the Greek that's used in Luke and Acts to the Greek that's used in Hebrews, you're going to see a lot of similarities, linguistic similarities. But that's besides the point, though. You think that Hebrews somehow debunks the Trinity? Go ahead, make your point.
Okay, so just to buttress my point as well, because I like to be precisely factual, right? So there are also scholars who actually believe that Hebrews was written by Paul. So I was not entirely wrong, even if there are some scholars that have a different opinion. So in regards to what was written in Hebrew, right? It states, for example, that if you read it from the verse 1, it's talking about God and how God communicates to the people. So it refers to the prophets of the past that God has spoken to us, to our ancestors, right, through the prophets, and has now spoken to us through the Son, right? So if you read it contextually, you're going to see that it is talking about Jesus Christ as being someone giving a message or chosen or selected as somebody to represent God and not equal
Okay,
to God, because
keep
it
reading.
was God
Keep
who
reading, though.
appointed him.
Okay, so
Do you want
let
me
me
to read?
show you let me show you
Do
what
you
you're
want me
doing
to
right.
read it literally?
Yeah, let me show you what you're doing right now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. So
You,
let
you
me
can
just
actually pull up the verse
let me just
to
show
make
you
it
what you're
easy.
doing right now. Let me just show you what you're doing right now.
Okay.
So if we go to the Quran, we go to the Quran,
Yeah.
and we go
Yeah.
to chapter. What chapter is this? So the Quran says, woe to those who pray." You familiar with this verse?
What? Sorry.
Are you familiar with this verse? It says, "Woe to those who
Come
pray."
again.
Are you familiar with the verse in the Quran that says, "Woe to those
I'm
who
familiar
pray"?
with the verse. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm familiar with the
So
verse. Yes.
if I just came to you and I said, "Woe to the Quran says, woe to those who pray," what would you say to me?
First of all, I know the argument you're trying to make, but you actually stopped me from continuing what I was trying to say, right? Because I'm trying
No,
to
because you didn't
speak
complete the
about
verse. No,
the
you
verse
didn't. So
contextually. So okay,
yes.
let me go straight to the verses that I'm referring to. It's verse number 8 and
No, no, no,
verse
no, 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 no,
number
no,
I
no,
think
no, no, no.
10 and
No,
11.
keep reading. No,
So
no,
those verses
keep
were
reading
talking
verse
about.
2. Keep reading verse 2.
Okay, what do you want
Yeah.
me to do now?
So my point was, if I
Yeah,
just
that's what
came
I
to you and
said
just
earlier. I
said
said, should I read it?
yes, and I said yes,
Do you
read
want
it,
me
read
to
it.
read it?
So the Quran says, "Woe
Okay.
to those who pray." You would tell me, okay,
Okay,
show me
hold
the
on.
context. Show me the context. Who is this talking about? Who is that talking about? Woe to who pray? So now we go to Hebrews chapter 1. Now I want you to read
Wait,
the
are we
full.
talking about the Bible now, or we are talking about the Quran?
Okay,
Hold on.
so what I
Are
did
we
was
talking about the
I gave
Bible
you
now,
an
or we're talking about the
I
Quran?
gave you an analogy for what you just did. You took one
That's
verse
what I
and
said. That you
you took
didn't
three words
allow
of the
me to
verse.
complete.
You took 3 words of the verse,
Mm.
and then you started to make an argument. What I'm
I'm
telling you
still
to do
reading,
is
bro.
read the whole verse. No, because you were making a point before you finished the verse. You said that the Son is just an
I'm ex-
agent through whom the
mm.
Father speaks through. That's what you said. He's just a messenger.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Come again, please.
Okay, just read chapter 1, verse 1 through 3.
That's what I said I wanted to do before you
Yeah, but don't stop halfway
started.
through. Don't stop halfway through. Just read the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So the verse reads, I'm reading New International Version. So it says, in the past, God spoke to our ancestors through the prophets at many times and in various ways. So here it's saying God spoke to the ancestors
Okay,
through the prophets.
please don't do that.
But
Just
in
read it.
verse 2,
Just read it.
okay, I should just read. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay. So, but in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, and through whom also he made the universe. The Son is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things by his powerful word. After he had provided purification for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the majesty in heaven.
Okay,
So that's the
great.
point. If
Okay, great.
so, if
So
if you can
are you
I
going to hold on a
okay
second now? Hold on. So are you going to go
yeah
back to what you said and say that you were wrong?
I'm trying to
or
make
are
a
you gonna
point
be
with the
honest?
passage that I want to read
Are
out
you
to
going to be
you.
honest and admit that the very verse you just read, if you only were to complete it, it would refute the point you were trying to make?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Are you going to be honest with us and admit that the very verse you appealed to, had you read the whole verse, it would have refuted your entire point? Now you can't hear me. Okay. Now the Wi-Fi is messed up. Okay. So let's just go through that again. So in these last days, he spoke to us by his son. So what he was trying to do was say, look, just like God spoke through the prophets, he's also speaking to us through his son. So therefore, he's only a messenger. But if he only kept reading the very verse he appealed to, whom he appointed heir of all things, through whom, he used the NIV, by the way, which translates this amazingly, through whom he made the universe. So is the son just like the other prophets?
Yeah.
Are the prophets the creators of the universe?
No time. All right. Just getting a bunch of these trolls here. Let's bring up Aries or Eris. Sorry, is that how do I say your name, bro?
Aris Marulakis.
Aris. Nice to meet you.
Are
you
nice to meet you, bro.
Are you Muslim?
Oh, yeah. You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Are you a Muslim?
Okay, great. Basically, yes. Now, yes, but I was born in Serbia, in Christianity, Orthodox, and I'm living in Greece. So all around me are Christians.
So you grew up Christian. You grew up in a Christian household around Christians, and then you
I
converted.
was baptized. Yes, I was baptized in Kaona in Serbia, in one monastery, and now I'm living in Greece in Corfu Island. And yeah, I came to the Islam just by pure logic and reading, like without influences outside of influence. So how to say?
What was the logic that led you to believe Islam was true?
Okay. So first of all, my English is not very good. So I mean, whatever I'm reading in Serbian language or in Greek. So for me, it's not easy to follow the verses and everything. But if we're gonna speak about pure logic, for me, like the Christian doctrine and all about the things about salvation and God's mercy, for me, that doesn't suit well, and there is no logical background to back up this.
So
Neither
wait, no
theological background, neither logical background. So
you said there's no logical background to back up what?
Like that you have to kill somebody innocent to forgive others people to go free for
Okay. So just like I was
logically not consistent, like with logic. Like you cannot base your righteousness on unrighteous actions, so like on injustice.
Okay, so I'm going to bring you to the same thing I showed the previous guest. Okay, see if you're saying that there's no logic in that, in killing someone else for the sins of another, right, or punishing someone else for the sins of another.
Yeah.
In Islam, it has this teaching. Okay, in Islam, so let me just show you. Sahih Muslim 2767a. It says Abu Musa reported that Allah's messenger said, "When it will be the day of resurrection, Allah would deliver to every Muslim, a Jew, or a Christian and say, 'That is your rescue from hellfire.' So the Muslims deserve to go to hell, but they're going to be replaced by a Jew and a Christian in their stead so that they can go to paradise."
No, that is not the teaching of Islam. This is not the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad. But it is. And you have one hadith, okay, but you have to read whole books about the topic. You're like, and the whole Quran.
Brother, I have multiple.
You cannot be saved as a Muslim. You can be saved as a Muslim uh, except if the God's mercy go up to you. So
But
it's not
obviously that
about that some other Jews or Christian go and be redeemed by you.
obviously, my brother, obviously that's not true because Muhammad said here in the authentic hadith, he
Yeah.
said that it's the Jew and the Christian that's going to be your salvation.
No, but okay. So look, you have one hadith. Okay, you have one.
I have
And
multiple.
no, but you have in the Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, you
Uh-huh.
have a whole books about this topic, and you have whole Quran, which is the primary source of information, and there you have clear who is going to go to the heaven and who is going to go to the hellfire, and how this thing is work. So you have clearly stated in Quran that nobody will pay for others' sins. So it's clearly in the Quran.
You even have in the Quran, it says that people will pay for other people's sins if they misled them.
No, it's not other people's sins. So if I mislead you, I have if I mislead you, so I will pay for that my bad deed. So I mislead
Nope.
people,
The
so I
Quran
have
says- my brother, the Quran says,
where?
it says in chapter 16, verse 20.
Okay, read me the verse so I can understand.
Yeah, well, before we get there, because I
Yep.
will get there in a second.
Yep.
This right here, we can't reject this. What I'm showing you on the screen.
Yeah, but there is a context, my friend. So look,
Yeah, the context is the day of resurrection. It's the day of
yeah,
judgment.
but there is a book with the multiple hadith and multiple stories and multiple
And
narrations
none of it helps you here.
No, you bring me one verse, one
Do you
hadith,
wanna see
basically.
that? I'll show you. Look, here's another one.
Okay.
Here's another one. No Muslim would die, but Allah would admit in his stead a Jew or a Christian in hellfire. Umar took an oath by one besides whom there is no God, but he, three times, that his father had narrated that to him from Allah's messenger. So he narrated it 3 times from Muhammad.
Yeah,
Okay?
but what you want to point with this? So you want to say that the teaching of Islam on the
Mhm.
Quran is that no Muslim can be saved except the Jews or Christians die for them.
That's what
Is
it
this your
says.
is this your understanding of Islam?
This is one of the ways. There's actually quite a few ways that in Islam it describes how a Muslim would be saved.
And you pick this one like this hadith. You pick this one like the main like
It's one of them.
way
It's
of
one of-
salvation, and this is the teachings of the Quran, basically.
It's one of them. It's one of the main ways.
But I told you again, this narration clearly contradicts what Quran says about the day of resurrection, about the Muslims, about
No, it
the
doesn't.
how the things is going on with the judgment day. So
But it doesn't.
okay, my is for example, okay, imagine that you are a Muslim, and you have
No, stuff
okay. So okay, now I will say like this: you have the primary source Quran, and if something is not in line with this Quran, maybe I don't have a knowledge I don't have the context of all other hadith, so I can understand what is going on. I don't have the context of all these stories. I don't know when is this narrated, at what time, and about what occasion. So I don't know these things, and maybe because I don't know, from my perspective, maybe it's contradiction with what the Quran is teaching. Okay, you understand my
But
position.
it's not.
So
I know.
okay,
It's not.
okay, if you prove me from the Quran that these claims can be supported from the Quran, so then we can say that this is the main teaching of Islam, so that all Muslims should believe that they're gonna be saved in that way, that all Christians and Jews is going to come and to pay for them basically on the day of judgment. But this is completely not the teaching of the Quran, because you have a
Are you
clear
Quran
verses from the
alone?
Quran. Huh?
Are you Quran alone?
No. I believe in hadith. I believe, but look, this thing about the hadith, it's like you have like a river of hadith, like it's like more than 10,000.
Yeah, but and some are authentic and then some are
yes.
right.
Yeah. Some are authentic, but still,
What I'm showing
if
you, what I'm showing you are the authentic
yeah, I
hadith.
know Muslim hadith. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that. But I tell you
Yeah.
again, like you, I don't have a knowledge to go in these hadiths and
That's fine, brother. I'm not
to
asking you to
understand them in the best way.
all
So,
right,
but
all right,
I know the rule. So I will tell you the rule.
all right.
The
So
rule
listen,
in Islam is like
Aris, you're not listening, bro.
sorry.
Look, I don't need you to give or to try to give an explanation for this if you don't have one. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? You just probably like, is this the first time you saw this hadith?
No, I know for
You seen this hadith before?
yeah. I saw, because they're all the time they're broughting this up against the Islam. Like this
Okay,
is
all
like
right.
the
You've
argument
seen the hadith
for
before. Okay.
yeah.
Well, all right, no worries. But you know, not having if you don't have an explanation for it, that's fine. Like, you know, if you're honest about that, I have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is though, is that this is in your most authentic sources. You can't reject it. And if you're rejecting Christianity off the basis that it was illogical for someone to be punished for the sins of another, then you have to apply the same thing to Islam, because Islam teaches that Jews and Christians are being punished for the sins.
That is not the teaching of the Islam that I'm trying to explain to you. Like it's silly to say that this is the teaching of Islam, because you find one hadith and then you negate 99% of other hadiths and the verses
I didn't
and
show
the
you one
chapters of
hadith.
the
I
Quran.
showed you two. Do you want me to show you a third?
Show me. I want to see.
Okay, so I showed you two, right?
Yeah, show me.
Showed you this one. That's one.
I want to see. Yeah, no problem.
Here's two. Here's a third one. It says,
Yeah.
there would come people amongst the Muslims on the day of resurrection with as heavy sins as a mountain.
I know this hadith. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And Allah would forgive them, and He would place in their stead the Jews and the Christians.
Yeah, but look, there is nothing about Allah or God is forgiving me, killing or sending Jews and Christians to the hellfire.
It's right here. What are you talking about, Habibi? And Allah would forgive them, and He would place in their
yes.
stead.
So He will forgive me, and on my place He will put somebody else who deserves the punishment.
The question is, how does He forgive you? How?
By His mercy. His mercy.
Oh, okay. How does He show you mercy?
Because like you are showing mercy to your child, for example.
No, brother. According to this hadith, it's telling you how He shows you mercy. How, according to the hadith, does Allah show the Muslims mercy?
No, it's not saying that this is the showing of any mercy here. You are. I don't see any mercy. It states that the God will forgive, but not all Muslims, anyways. Like,
come on, man. What we doing here, Aris?
Yeah, my friend.
Aris.
Hey, I'm here, still here.
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay. Let's finish with this. Okay.
Yes.
My position and my perspective of this is that this is not the teaching of Islam. One. The second thing is here is not.
How can you say this is not the teaching of
Islam?
Because
Muslim. Yeah, but this here you don't have anything that says to you that the mercy of God is in that the mercy is putting somebody else in hellfire.
Let me put it. Let me give you an analogy.
Yeah, give me an analogy, please. Maybe it's easier for me.
All right. So let's say this king has a village and he has a law against stealing. Right? Stealing is 1,000 lashes. Okay, in this analogy.
Yeah.
All right. Boom. All right. The king's son steals. He steals. He gets caught, and they tied him to a pole. Right.
Yep.
Okay. But instead of the king's son getting 1,000 lashes, the king unties the son, and he ties himself to the pole to receive the 1,000 lashes. Is that mercy to the son?
Wait a second. I lost you somewhere in the middle. Apologize, because I was trying to find the verse. Like,
Just let me know when you're ready, man, so I can, because I don't want to waste my breath.
yeah, sorry, yes, you're right. Yeah, everyone will bear the consequences of what he does, and no one shall bear the burden of another.
And there's a
Therefore,
contradiction. I'm gonna show you that in a minute. But
okay,
can you
so
focus on the analogy that I'm giving you?
okay, let's back. So this is the verse from the
I'm
Quran.
trying
So,
to give you an analogy, Iris. I feel like
yeah,
you're not.
okay,
Can I give you an analogy?
yeah,
Okay. So I'm just starting over. There's a king
okay,
of a village. The law against stealing, 1,000 lashes.
yeah,
The king's son steals. So
okay,
villagers tied him to a pole and got ready to lash him.
okay.
But what the king does instead, he unties the son and he ties himself to the pole to receive the 1,000 lashes in his stead. Is that showing mercy towards the son?
Is that showing the mercy towards the son?
Mm-hmm.
If it's the sin against, so like if the sin against the king, and the king wants to put himself to be hit by this, okay, it's not. It's like the mercy, yeah, some kind of mercy. Yes,
Is it mercy?
yes,
Thank you so much. So, same thing, just a little different.
yeah,
The Muslims here, they have heavy sins. They committed crimes against God, and their sins are deserving of hellfire. They're going to hell. But Allah forgives them, and instead of them going to hell and being punished for those sins that are as heavy as a mountain, He places in their stead the Jews and the Christians. So the Muslims are escaping their punishment for their sins. They're escaping hellfire. Isn't that Allah showing mercy to the Muslims?
no, in that manner that you want to ascribe. Look, bro, I want to look the hadith. Look,
That's where it is, Aris.
no,
When we can't be honest with each other in these conversations.
why this is because you're neglecting 99.9% of
When you
teachings
can't
of
be
Islam.
honest in the conversation.
No, I will be honest with you, but you don't want to be honest with me.
Please stop. This is where, this type of energy changes. Because now I have to treat you like a dishonest person, which I don't want to do. I want you to be honest with me in this conversation.
Yeah,
but
I'm
you're
honest with you.
to.
Okay, so you want to tell me, okay, so you want for me answer that I want to you that this is the mercy of
I just want you to be honest. You are able to admit that the king taking on the lashes in the stead of his son is mercy towards the son because he escaped the lashes.
Okay.
But with the Muslims, Allah in their places Jews and Christians in their stead, so that the Muslims escapes punishment and hellfire.
No, but in
How
this
is that not
analogy,
mercy towards the Muslim.
In that analogy, Allah should go to the hellfire, not Jews and Muslims, because king goes and takes the lashes. So Allah is the king, and he has to go to the hellfire. I don't get you.
Would it be logical if Allah wanted to, and he's the one who took the lashes or took the punishment of their sins? Would there be anything logically wrong with that?
Of course, because like the God is.
I don't want to cut you off, but thanks for coming. That's it.
No, sorry.
Thanks for coming. Exactly, guys. Exactly. He made a case for Jesus, and he didn't know it until I asked him the question. And he realized that he got caught and then had to be dishonest again. He said that the analogy would make more sense if Allah himself came and took the lashes. That Allah himself comes and takes on the sins for the Muslims. Then it would be mercy. Doesn't that sound familiar, guys? God himself coming to us to take on the punishment that we deserve in our place so that we receive the mercy and the grace of God. all who believe in him. So the very reason he rejected Christianity, he also made a case for it. Hamdulillah, Yeshua.